Hello and welcome back to World Traveler Cooking, the show where we cover interesting foods and interesting cuisines from around the world. Today we're going to start a Lithuanian fruitcake. Fruitcakes are common throughout Christmas time in different cultures, and Europe's no exception. Of course, we've already covered Stollen, which is another sort of fruitcake, and so here we go with this one today. I've already kind of started. I took 800 grams of dried fruit and 150 grams of nuts, and I soaked them with 200 milliliters of vodka. And this has been soaked and turned and so forth, so it's been a couple of days and there's no liquid left. I also have 270 grams of flour combined with 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 150 grams of butter, 4 eggs, 200 grams of brown sugar, and I'm using the coconut sugar today, but if you're in the US, I'll provide conversions for just using the straight brown sugar they have. And then I have an orange and a lemon. We'll use the zest of the lemon and the whole orange. And then I have some seasonings. I have about a third of a teaspoon or so of ginger. I have 3 whole cloves that I've crushed, although you could probably use about a similar amount of ginger as you use cloves if you're just getting pre-ground stuff. And I have 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. So I'm actually just going to dump these on flour right now because that's where they're going. And then let's go ahead and get started. So I've added my butter and my sugar, and now we're just going to cream this up until it's nice and fluffy. That'll take a few minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to beat my eggs and just whisk my flour mixture a bit so it's more even. So I've mixed my flour, my dry ingredients together here, and I beat my eggs just enough to mix the yolks and the whites. And now we're just waiting for the rest to finish, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. So this is starting to look pretty good, so I'm going to start by pouring in just a bit of the eggs, and then adding just a bit of the flour. And once that's mixed in, I will just keep repeating this until I am done with it all. And then I'll be back. So this is starting to look pretty good. So I'm going to start by pouring in just a bit of the eggs. And then adding just a bit of the flour. And once that's mixed in, I will just keep repeating this until I am done with it all. And then I'll be back. At this point, I add the zest, and in a moment I'll add the orange juice too. In goes our orange juice, and I'll squeeze the other half too. And next, in go the fruits and nuts. And then I'm just going to loosely stir it up. So I've taken my springform pan and I've put baking paper in the bottom and along the sides, and next I'm going to spoon this in so that it kind of holds the paper in place, and then we will just dump the rest in. So here's the cake before it goes in. We will put it in at 140 Celsius. I think that's around 275 Fahrenheit. And we'll start it with 2 hours or an hour and a half, and then we'll come and check on it. So here it is out of the oven. You can see it grew quite a bit. So even with the springform pan, it's definitely good that I lined the sides with plenty of baking paper. Now we're just going to let this cool down completely. This will take several hours. And then we'll wrap it in cheesecloth and start the process of aging it. So once this cake is cooled down, we're going to start our wrapping process. And we're going to start by wrapping it in cheesecloth. And I'm going to explain why in a moment. But the purpose of wrapping it in cheesecloth is because the cheesecloth will hold our periodic dosings of brandy. So let's drizzle a bit of brandy on. And once that's in place, then we will fold over our foil. So after a couple weeks, I opened up the cake. It did stick a little bit to the cheesecloth, but that's all right. Normally, this would then be decorated with things like wreaths of rosemary and so forth, but I'm not able to get fresh rosemary right now, so that's that. So I've decided to just cut a piece, you should let the cake rest after opening it up for maybe half an hour or so. Now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and try this taste test. So the cake itself seems relatively rich, but otherwise unremarkable. You do taste a bit of the fruits and nuts and a bit of the spices, and that's great. So now I'm going to try some of it with a lot more fruit. The texture of the dried fruit is very nice. It's not too firm, but it's not too soft. The flavors really come through very vibrantly. So yeah, let's try a bit more of this. So with each bite, you get almost a different symphony of flavors. If you're used to the sort of fruitcakes you buy at the store in the US, this bears some slight resemblance to that, but not very much. It's much, much better. The flavors are much more harmonious. And yeah, this is very nice. So I would highly recommend making this for your Christmas spread. Now, if you like this content and you'd like to see more of it, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have anything to say about this video, I'd love to hear from you. Recipes in the description. Bon appetit, and see you next week.